Yo, what up, my dudes? So, I got my first podcast up, episode one, and I guess this is my episode one mini video to go along with the podcast. I don't know what this is. I have a question though. Does anybody want me to upload the podcast episodes to YouTube? I feel like that kind of makes sense just because I don't know. Like if I stop paying for podcast hosting, at least they'd be up on YouTube still. But yeah, if there's that. If there's any topics you want me to cover on the podcast, there's that. This podcast that I'm calling episode one, but it's episode two, is me kind of rambling about the number 108, where it came from, why I like it, my calendar system, all that fun stuff. Here I'll scroll. If I scroll here, shout out to why am I putting the Donald on? I mentioned flags and symbols, and that Donald Trump Rambo flag came to mind. I don't think I showed this off yet, but I talk a little bit about. I took the character for Dow and threw red, black, and green on it. Anyway, episode one is there, available to watch. It's actually episode two. I'll put a link to episode one and two below here. Episode one ended up being, I was just doing a test and I ended up talking for like an hour. And I was like, whatever, I'll upload it. So now there's two episodes up. You can check it out. And one thing I will say with the podcast is it's like this transition. All right, now you're getting bonus podcast content, I guess. But right before I hit record, I had this thought, which is, so I had this Milltown Kid universe that I created and character, and it was at an interesting time for the internet. It was all brand new. YouTube, there was no such thing as YouTube before YouTube. Free video hosting did not exist, and then it existed. And YouTube is, the thing that created that, right? So I was on there early. And also with YouTube and Twitter and just the internet in general, something else that changed at that time with Facebook is people didn't use their real names online. And even when Facebook started, I don't know when it started in the universities, but I believe it became publicly available in 2006 or 2007, really close to YouTube. Twitter, all these things kind of like popped off at the same time. And I'm getting away from what my original point was just Milltown Kid. I made this thing. It was an internet thing. My personal life, friends, and family, except for mom, shout out to mom. She watched and read more content than any other friend or family member, I'm sure. But it was this other thing that I was doing. I'd go hang out with friends. Sometimes, as you know, like Robonets or whatever, there were some friends who participated a little bit, but they didn't like watch my videos. So, it was this like separation of, I want to say like church and state. That I don't know why that makes sense, but Milltown Kid was over here. My IRL life was over here. That was that. This podcast is interesting because it's building, well, one, with Casey Abbott Payne, my new avatar, my new digital avatar is like closer to my IRL life. But again, I don't think most people are watching these videos or reading my blog posts, except for mom. Shout out to mom. But this podcast is interesting because it's like this interesting crossover where there's some old school YouTube friends, and if you YouTube friend, only 20, 30, 50 people see this, so you're all my YouTube friends and family. Some of you will listen to this podcast, but then I have people in the IRL space who would not consume these videos or whatever else I'm doing online, but they'll consume this podcast. So it's this interesting, it's the first, I feel like, bridge between the two realms, the digital and the IRL realm. And what's cool is, again, bridging the digital and IRL realm. It's interesting. We just had COVID, right? And everybody's been doing everything virtually and digitally. But I bought, I have two mics, and I bought the equipment so I could go do these things in person. So the podcast is going to be a very IRL experience with IRL people, and then put on digitally. But then because I'm doing it with IRL people, every time I do an episode with someone new, like their IRL community, even if it's just one or two or three people, right? But they'll, it's this weird bridge, and that's all I wanted to say. Like it's been an interesting experience. Oh, and the reason I haven't uploaded any videos or, I've just been off, is because I've been messing with all the podcast stuff. It took me a long time to, do show notes, figure out the editing. I have a friend who's going to edit it for me now, or like level it and stitch it together. If I have music intro stuff and everything. So all that took, I had to figure out the host. I had to figure out the technology. I had to do all this stuff. And yesterday I finally got the second episode up, and then I made these, there's the Pan-African flag. I made these show notes, and now I have let's see, click. This is exciting stuff. Am I clicking the wrong side? There. I have my podcast page where the episodes will show up. Yeah, it took me a little while to get all that done, but that's all done now. I brought Guanyin down here because she had the dragon on, and then if you noticed the dragon, like I got her wearing the dragon thing now. Man, I'm not gonna edit. I was like, I'll put the picture here, but the Qing Dynasty flag, that's what this, if you saw the thumbnail, that's the flag from the Qing Dynasty. I talk about that in the episode, but that's what that is, and that's why I brought Guanyin down with the dragon. That's it. Yeah, cool. I really like doing these. I like talking by myself. I like talking with other people, which I've done a couple times now. Like, I'm digging the podcast, dude. It's cool. Anyhow, if you still want to listen to me ramble, you got 2 episodes down there. Jump on it. Questions, comments, you can leave comments on the website. You can leave comments here. You can tweet me. You can gram me. You can whatever. I'm easy to get a hold of. All right, guys. Hope you're doing lovely. Hope life is treating you well. Love you. Peace.